It's a major shift to the right in Brazil as the hardline Jair Bolsonaro, dubbed the Brazilian Trump, leads in the race to become the country's next president. A former army captain who's promised to crack down on crime and corruption, he won 46% of the vote in Sunday's election. He'll now be facing the left-wing Workers' Party candidate Fernando Haddad in a very polarizing runoff. Evelyn Laverick reports.
Chanting their man's name, Brazil's far-right supporters celebrated long and hard after he came top in the first round of the country's presidential poll. Jair Bolsonaro may be number one, but he still failed to win the 50% of valid votes needed to avoid a second round in 3 weeks.
We must believe in our Brazil. We cannot retreat. We have 3 weeks left before the second round. If we could trust in the electronic voting system, we would already know the name of the next president of the Republic tonight.
Já teríamos o nome do futuro presidente da República decidido no dia de hoje.
Bolsonaro will face Workers' Party candidate Fernando Haddad in the runoff. His supporters were equally jubilant at getting what he's called a golden opportunity to take the presidency.
We want to unify Democrats in Brazil. We want to unite people who cares about the poorest in this country, so unequal. We want an ambitious project for a deeply democratic Brazil that will also pursue for social justice.
But Brazil is at its most divided in decades. The two men are at opposite ends of the political spectrum, and that's not going to change as they ramp up their campaigning once again. Evelyn Laverick, Euronews.
Let's get more of this from Marcelo Barreto, a reporter from TV Globo, who joins me now live from Rio. Thanks for talking to us on Euronews now. More than a year ago, this candidate was ridiculed when he launched his presidential campaign. So how big of a shift is this in Brazilian politics?
Hello, thanks for having me. It's a very big shift. It's like people are voting against and not in favor of their candidates. There are two huge projects in Brazil, the Workers' Party project and the project led by Mr. Bolsonaro, which is basically against almost everything that the Workers' Party did in power.
Well, now the leftist Fernando Haddad says he's called on other candidates to unite and join forces against the far right. So what are Bolsonaro's actual chances of actually becoming president?
Well, he got 49% of the valid votes in the first round, so he got 46%. So he's the clear candidate, the clear favorite for the second round. What Mr. Haddad has to do is actually unite forces that don't want Mr. Bolsonaro in power, just like Mr. Bolsonaro was able to do against him in the first round.
Now, we've heard so much about how the country has been divided because of this split between the far right and far left. But isn't it a worrying sign that you've got Bolsonaro, who's so far ahead in the polls at the moment, and this is a person who's attacked Brazil's Afro-Caribbean community, he's attacked gays and lesbians. What does this say about the country right now, do you think?
The country is really divided, but what the first round show is that many people are willing to vote for Mr. Bolsonaro despite of his attacks on all these communities. So people are willing to believe him as a solution to the problems that the Workers' Party had in power, and they are willing to not consider his remarks about minorities, for example. So that's what the Workers' Party has to attack in the second round.